chaos and disorganization actually cost you so much and far more than you think. I it was not always the big crisis that wears you down. It's actually this constant swirl of disorganization, unclear roles, and no rhythms to hold things steady and together. Without structure, joy gets swallowed up by all the other things. And this is true for you as a leader. It's true for your team. It's true for your personal and professional life as an integrated unit because you live one whole life together. It's true if you've got children. Disorganization creates more stress and will give you so much anxiety that is actually unnecessary. And it's not something I want you to feel shame about, but I'm going to help you figure that out today. So you're doomed. You're never going to top that. That's what people told Elizabeth Gilbert after her runaway success of Eat, Pray, Love. I'm going to use Elizabeth Gilbert's story to help you understand why structures matter. So we're going to get back to that in just a moment. So if you are new here, welcome to the Joyosity Podcast. I'm so glad you found your way to this corner of leadership and life where we are designing work and life for joy, where joy is at the center. I'm Jenn Whitmer, international keynote speaker, leadership consultant, and all-around joy bringer. And if you are jumping back in, I'm so glad that you're here again. This fall, we are continuing our series inspired by my upcoming book, Joyosity: How to Cultivate Intense Happiness in Work and in Life, even if things are what they are. And around here, we are not settling for toxicity. We're not settling for constant overwhelm and the exhaustion of all the too muches. In each episode, we are moving away from that and I'm bringing you stories and research and tools that you can use right away to create a life that is full of joy and thriving for you and in your workplace. So back to Elizabeth Gilbert. Everywhere she went after the mega success of Eat, Pray, Love, people told her, you're never going to top that. Like every Debbie Downer lined up to remind her that she's peaked. It's all over. And in one of my all-time favorite TED Talks, Gilbert goes through and she kind of quips, no one ever warns chemical engineers about that. Like her dad's a chemical engineer. Nobody says, you're going to end up a depressed alcoholic, exhausted and anxious all the time. You're going to end up in an early grave. But that's for creatives, we've kind of accepted this myth that their work requires suffering in order to create and be successful. Based on the data that I have researched in the book and what we've talked about here on the podcast, it is that we've accepted that level of suffering as normal for leaders too. Like you just should be happy to have a job. Suffering is part of it. And we've internalized the idea that work is toil. Just be glad you got a job. And we've bought into the lie that if I work hard and if I hustle, when I get to this certain level, then I am allowed to have ease and joy. But then when you get there to whatever that level was, you realize, and you're often devastated because what got you to that level doesn't work anymore because it isn't sustainable. And so Gilbert talks about this idea of this suffering, and she kind of rubs her hands together and she asks the audience the same question I have for you. Are you guys cool with that idea? I mean, I'm not okay because it's destroying us. Gilbert isn't either. She said, I think it's odious, dangerous, and I don't want to see it perpetuated into the next century. I think it's better if we live. I would prefer to keep doing this work that I love. That's what Gilbert said. And I want that for you too. I want to keep doing the work I love, which is helping you do the work that you love, to do good things in the world, to lead people well, to have a life of joy through all of the ups and downs without sacrificing yourself to the altar of productivity that comes with exhaustion and anxiety, because that is what is demanded by the productivity and profit idols. I don't think that's okay. You can cultivate joy and reject the fallacy that pervasive, crushing anxiety is the cost of success. So I have to sacrifice my life in order to be successful. It's a lie. You don't have to do that. Later in Gilbert's talk, she shares her stubborn determination to cling to structure as the way she gets to keep doing the work that she loves. Do you want to keep doing the work that you love and protect joy if things are what they are? When the storms of life come, do you want that? If you do, then you need steady structures that put practices into automatic, repeatable patterns. You need to establish structures unique to who you are, to your values, your personality, your life stage, and be flexible enough to shift with new seasons and when things change, but strong enough to sustain you when the sea of life is rough. You have one life, and the waves at the conference room table will impact you at the supper table. You have different spaces and different roles and relationships that make up your life, but they are not separate. You live one continuous life. And so when we talk about building steady structures, it's got to be integrated. You have to consider the totality of your one whole continuous life. What we run into, our problem, is often that hustle and your motivation, your want to, is fragile. Passion, it burns hot, but then it burns out. I feel like it's Brene Brown that said this, that if you want to stop burning out, stop living like your life is on fire. Stop living like you're on fire. That's where structures come in, because without structures, chaos fills the vacuum. Chaos comes in and you just kind of move from one thing to the next, and it erodes your joy so fast. It just burns out, because without steady systems, without steady structures of systems, rhythms, and rituals, you are in constant reactivity. And that will drain your joy reservoir and it will keep you in the stress cycle. So these are all connected. When we dig into the research shows that the systems and rhythms and rituals will reduce your anxiety. They improve your sleep. They prevent dysfunction. They prevent redundancy. All of those things happen when you've got good systems. All the project managers are rejoicing right now. You get it. But there's more than just a good system. You've got to have these structures that are repeatable. And when you have structures that are repeatable, what organizational research shows and interpersonal research shows that when you've got these structures, you experience higher resiliency and less burnout. So you are creating your own strength for when the waves of life come. And teams that have consistent rhythms are more creative, they are more collaborative, and they are less likely to fracture. Chaos costs you joy and it costs you energy. Structures protect it. So, quick pause here to talk about my new book, Joyosity: How to Cultivate Intense Happiness in Work and in Life, Even if Things Are What They Are. It's coming in just a few weeks, and I am thrilled that Dr. Jacqueline Kerr, she is a PhD behavior change scientist. She is founder of Leading Real Change. She has really studied and researched the science that lots of people like James Clear and other habit people talk about all the time. A lot of it is based on her research. And she has endorsed the book Joyosity. And I'm so grateful because she has spent her career showing how habits and structures change lives. And so I'm so grateful that she has endorsed the book. And if you want early access and you want to pre-order your book right now so it shows up when it launches in just a couple weeks, please go to jennwhitmer.com/books. You can get the link in the show notes, but you can also at jennwhitmer.com/books get into the Joyosity Works Very Important Party, which is the early access group of people. They've got some special behind the scenes, some special early release chapters, and some other things like that. Also, some other special bonuses. So go to jennwhitmer.com/books. You can order and join the group there. And the link I said is in the show notes. So back to steady structures. How do you create that? You're like, yeah, I know I'm disorganized, or I just can't seem to get it together. If you are saying that to yourself, it is so easy to fall, as I like to say, into the shamey shoulds. I don't want that for you. Steady structures are things that can save you. And so I want to help you build them. And there are 3 layers to steady structures that sustain joy. One of them is systems. And you need systems. Jenny Blake, who is a New York Times bestselling author and business strategist, she says that stress is often a systems problem. A system is anything that you repeat, anything that is interconnected that enables you to be your best self and do your best work. A system is a repeatable and integrated thing, anything that helps you repeat and integrate so you can enable your best self to do your best work. Basically, it's when I do X, I do it this way. Systems prevent the chaos of hunting for files, redoing the same thing, reinventing processes, or chasing down the details every single time. And in the book, I give you all kinds of ways to develop systems. And in the playbook, so much more. So that's a system, something that you do that is repeatable. And this can be outsourced to another human. It can be outsourced to a digital platform, some kind of technology, but a system doesn't have to be that. A system is something you can do too. So systems have a lot of different components. So it's anything that's repeatable and interconnected that helps you enable your best self to do your best work. That's one layer. The next layer is a rhythm. And a rhythm is a sequence of actions or pauses that you regularly repeat daily, weekly, monthly, seasonally, annually. Your day, your week, your month, or even your year. That's not the right tune, but you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so basically, when you're creating a rhythm isn't rigid and etched in stone for forever. As a former music teacher and a musician, rhythms kind of flex. There's spaces and there's long sounds and short sounds and there are silences, and all of those things work together. They have movement to them. Rhythms in your life have movement. They are not rigid. They are not etched in stone forever. Some people love to talk about routines. As a full-on Enneagram 7, routines feel very restrictive. But a rhythm is something I can do. So rhythms are also not fragile habits that you just drop as soon as it feels a little bit hard. Rhythms help you get into a groove that bend with your life and keep you aligned to your best self and the way you want to live. All of the practices that we talked about in the last 2 episodes, those fit into your rhythms. Your rhythm fits into your system. And your rhythms are these things that you repeat regularly. And I've got daily rhythms and weekly rhythms, and I have annual rhythms. Rhythms are these things that you repeat that help you not only follow the practices, but keep you in your groove. They're good habits for you. And they're put together because you might build a few things into your rhythm. And then the third part of a system, a third part of a structure, you've got systems and then your rhythms, and now you have rituals. Rituals are small activities, they're intentional activities that help you transition from one posture, role, activity to another. It is the threshold moments. Those are rituals. They help you mentally, emotionally, and physically move through the phases of your day. They help you move through the phases of your career, of your life, of seasons of life, of literal seasons from summer to fall. Transitions tell your body we're moving into someplace new. They are tiny doorways that sustain your joy. They can be a multitude of things. Rituals do not have to be religious. Absolutely, they can be. They don't have to be. Rituals can be small activities that say, "I am moving from this space to the next." I have one client that when we first started working together, she was always late. She was always late to our meeting. It was like, just a couple minutes, this meeting is running over. And finally, we got to the point in coaching where she started to realize that the reason that was happening is because she had no time in between to shift from a creative meeting to a business meeting to a coaching meeting, where there's very different things happening. They were all meetings, but they were different activities. She needed threshold moments to transition from one to the next. So we figured out a small activity for her to do to close the creative brainstorming meeting and then move into the budget meeting or move into the coaching meeting, whatever it was. We helped her develop this ritual. Hers was simply writing something down that helped her move from one thing to the next. A ritual can be very simple, but it moves you from one activity to the next. It is a transition. And in the book, I give you so many more ways to design these steady structures that are unique to your personality, your Enneagram type. They're unique, again, to your season of life, your values, your work situation. Because if you are working at home from your kitchen table, you need a different ritual than if you have to commute to Delaware from Texas. So, very different life ways to do rituals, but rituals help you transition. And that's what you need. And these 3-layer structures, not just rituals, but systems, rhythms, and rituals, help you do that work. And in the playbook, there's even more. And these 3-layer structures, they sustain you when life happens. And life sometimes just takes you out, and you need these structures to sustain you when that happens. That is how you create and cultivate your joy. It gets into structures. Steady structures save you time. They save you relationships. They operationalize your values, and they make joy possible. Systems, rhythms, and rituals keep you afloat when life wants to pull you under. So, let me put my coach hat on for just a moment and take a breath. Do you have a system? Do you have rhythms? Do you have rituals? Are they working? Which one do you need the most right now? Do you need transitions? Do you need to set up your week so it flows? Do you need some systems to help you not make so many decisions? Which one do you need the most? I would love to hear. If you would share this episode and tag me in it, let me know which one you're working on or one of the things that you use that you have found successful. I am not the fount of all knowledge and wisdom here, friends. You have them too. So share with other people this important idea and what you do to solve that problem. Check the show notes for the links and connect with me on LinkedIn and Instagram at Jenn_Whitmer. Drop me an email, Jenn with 2 N's at JennWhitmer.com. I want to hear from you. I want to keep our conversation going because you are a part of this movement. You are a part of helping people create joy at work. Thank you for spending your time with the Joyosity podcast. If you would rate and subscribe, it would mean so much, not just to validate the work that I'm doing, because I know that it matters, but it helps other people get access to it. So we're all working to cultivate positive culture with complex people. So work is a joy, people are whole, and organizations flourish. And let me leave you with this today. Joy doesn't grow from scattered steps. Joy grows from steady structures.